my name is Taylor Standiford, and I'm going into otolaryngology. So, pros, honestly, I can't think of any cons right now, but pros, there's so many. The first obvious one to me was I felt like way better prepared to take step one after having gone through all my clerkships, because I'd taken so many shelves and they were all just like a lot of really high stakes exams. And so I was like very used to taking a higher stakes exam before I had to take this like enormous test. So I really loved that. The second is obviously just the branches time. Like your third year, you have so much time to explore. And for someone like me who found their specialty really late, I honestly don't know if I would have been able to do that had we had a traditional curriculum. I didn't come into Odo until like April of my M3 year, which was not that late, but a little bit late for a surgical subspecialty. And had I had to have still been doing rotations, I never would have found it. So I think that's another pro, just like giving your time to figure out what specialty you really want to go into and would really fit for you. The next is like research opportunities. So I was able to take 2 research months, and I think that really helped my application, especially in just like a more competitive specialty. Having a lot of research really helped. So having that time. The cons, honestly, I don't know why everyone doesn't have this curriculum. I guess the con could be, and I don't have anything to compare it to, but potentially like there were things during step one that I felt like I had to learn all like entirely new that I hadn't learned during my preclinical years or clinical year, which was fine. I learned them, but I wonder if we would have had an exaggerated curriculum if we would have like been introduced to those topics. But having said that, like our step one scores as a whole went up, and I really don't think it affected us. I chose procedure-based care because I knew I was going to do something procedural. I was thinking about doing OBGYN, which is like also surgical. I really loved surgery and the operating room and the people, and so I did procedures-based care. So electives. So I did, like I said, I did 2 research months, which was super helpful. I don't think you learn how to like do research in medical school, how to do a literature review, how to formulative study, how to work with collaborators, and I think that time really let me do that. The second is I did a sub-I in OBGYN actually, and that's kind of how I figured out that it probably wasn't the best specialty for me. And so I actually had the chance to do 2 sub-Is. I did one in OBGYN and one in Odo. And I think having the opportunity to do both really helped me. I also did a business elective that some of my friends and I created that is basically like a mini MBA. So we learned about like how the healthcare system operates, different kinds of healthcare systems, whether that's nonprofit or for-profit. We learned about basic finance, basic accounting. So it was like a little mini MBA in a month, and I thought it was awesome. It was one of my favorite classes I took in medical school, and I still refer back to a lot of my slides and learnings from that class. I think so I don't know if this is necessarily a part of the curriculum, but having the time to do the boot camp, we're in the procedures-based boot camp right now, and I think it's awesome. We get like a page-in curriculum where they page us in the middle of the night, which is terrifying, and your adrenaline spikes and you're really scared. But that's like what it's going to be like in real life. In each page I get a little bit less scared, even though they're totally fake scenarios. So, and then we get to learn, from faculty in cardiology, nephrology, neurology about procedure-based things. So like things a surgical intern would care about, which I think is really awesome. So I definitely think that part is great. The second is just like time. I actually think I needed a lot of time to figure out what I wanted to do. I think it's like a total myth that you like come into medical school and you want to do X, Y, or Z. The amount of friends I have that changed their minds so many times but are so happy with their final decision, it's incredible. And I think the branches gives you time to like figure out who you are and what you want out of medical school, and what you want to do for the rest of your life, because it's not an insignificant decision you have to make. It will impact you the rest of your life, and the fact you only have like a couple of years to make it, and really a couple of months, the branches just exaggerated that and let me talk to a lot of different people about a lot of different specialties. So I feel really confident in the specialty that I'm going into, and I think that I wouldn't feel as confident without the branches. So I actually had, it was funny, I had faculty mentors in OBGYN, because that's what I thought I was going to go into, who are incredible, just like amazing human beings. And that's like one of the reasons I wanted to do it. It was really hard for me to differentiate this specialty and these people versus what I wanted. And I really looked up to them, but I didn't like the kind of day in, day out procedures that they did. And it was really hard for me to tell them, because I got really ingrained in research and mentorship, that I wasn't going to do their specialty, I wasn't going to pursue it. But I will say that it's the Michigan culture to just support and sponsor in whatever way that means. And so when I told them, they were not disappointed. They just said, how can we support you in otolaryngology, and what can we do for you? Can I still write you a letter of recommendation? Do I know people in this field that I can connect you with? So I think that's just the Michigan way of relentless support in mentorship. And so they are still some of my best mentors, even though I'm not going into their field. And then within Odo, I was on my OBGYN sub-I, and I emailed Dr. Emily Stukin, who's an otologist at Michigan, and I said, hey, I'm thinking about maybe doing otolaryngology, do you think it's too late, essentially? And she said, no, come to my OR and we'll talk about it. And so I was like on an overnight shift for my OB sub-I, went to the OR with her, and she just was like so energetic, was like, we're gonna get you into this field, we're gonna get you connected with research and mentors. And she was so excited to welcome me into the field. And then I kind of had that same sponsorship from so many otolaryngologists. So not only were the OBs super happy to support me in the next thing, but the ENT people were just also open arms and welcoming me into the field and kind of helping me do whatever it took in order to pursue the field and be successful in the match.